All right, let's recap today. I took one trade on CISS. This was a real low float runner on the day. We'll drag over the P&O. So, finished the day up $1,243.56. Small account is now at $21,277.11. Next goal I'm thinking is we just push this thing to margin, and then from there, we just launch it. I mean, I'm curious to see, just how crazy this can get. So, one trade today on CSS for an $1,200 profit, and it was literally right before the halt. So I bought, if I grab the little measuring tool here, I bought this candle here, and I was out right about there. That was it, and it was pretty quick. I mean, the second I bought, I was up like couple $100, and then I saw the limit up order on the level 2, and it just closed. I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go, we're halting up. And then I watched as it stacked up over to like 526, 528, 540. I was like, oh, here we go, here we go. And I actually got slippage on the bid, unfortunately, because when we actually did resume, I punched the bid, and for whatever reason, the spreads hadn't really caught up yet, and it kind of like did one of these, and it filled me down here. So I lost probably $500 to slippage, but it's okay. So I wanted to talk about why I took this trade, right? So we got the low float, like I mentioned. So this float was the same as the big runners previously. So like BTTC, the one yesterday, SPRB, they all had a float of 500K. Okay. Now this does matter. This matters a lot because a float that's that low, 500,000, is considered a micro float. So it's the supply, I hope you know this by now. That's the supply of the stock, right? So you get that news, you get a lot of volume, then all of a sudden you get that imbalance, and boom, you get these types of moves. And sub 1 million is where the money's made because that's a stock that can move rapidly, a couple 100% in like a minute. It's insane. But it's how the imbalance works, supply demand. It's a very real thing in the stock market. So, this company I believe had news. Let me go over to the other window here quick and look. So, uh, I didn't even look because the market was so hot. It was just, time to hop on. Let's see. Nothing there, nothing there. 5 hours ago, poised for surge. Doesn't really say why. I don't know. I don't see anything. I mean, it didn't hold up the greatest, which kind of tells me that, if we really take a look at this, that's kind of how you know it didn't have news, is because it literally, the whole move reversed. But, I mean, if you can catch it in that pocket, that's all that matters. And I knew that it was a gainer in the pre market. So when we had pushed up with this, obviously very ascending volume, you had the open MACD, it became really apparent to me in that moment that this was something that I was willing to hedge a bet on. And I went into it with about $10,000 worth of leverage. I wasn't going to dance around it. I mean, it presented itself perfectly. And as you can see over here on the side, the float is 642,000 shares. That's so low. That's so low. Like most are above 5. And if you get that one that's under 5 but under 1 million, these are the big plays. So, this was textbook. It really, really was. You got that push, you're holding your levels, and the volume profile just looks fantastic. And the MACD's open, and it's one of those high conviction trades, right? The micro pullback entry is right there. If I get the pen, this is the micro pullback entry, that candle. That candle gave you the pullback. And then you're in it, and you get that halt. And I got filled somewhere in here. I honestly, if I let this clear out, I probably got filled right in the very bottom of the wick, unfortunately, if I go back through and look. But so the last 3 days, for the small account, we did 1,200 today, 700 yesterday, and then 400 some the day before. So we're up, over $2,000 the last 3 days. And, $21,277 in the small account. So realistically, before I could put this cash account into margin, I got to make another at least 5K. At least. Because if I don't, then I'm not giving myself a cushion and I'm opening the door for what could be potentially margin calls. I don't want to do that. So we're going to keep this strategy rolling. If you watched the previous video I made, you know the whole game plan that I gave you. That's the exact strategy that I am trading for the most part. And, I'm just excited to see what I can really push this thing to, because I hadn't grown a small account since the original one that I did, years ago, which was 5.8K, and in a month it was 28K, and then, everything changed from there. I was super aggressive, and, I was able to actually make a sustainable amount of money off of that. So with this, the second time around, it just makes me a more confident trader, because it's like, holy shit, like this was me. It wasn't just the market conditions. It wasn't just luck of the draw. Like, no, it's the trader. It's the person in front of the keyboard that can make this much money in this way, right? So, this wasn't a super in-depth video by any means. Let's see if the news pops up on here. So, what is it? CISS, I think. Yeah, so change this grouping, and yeah, we got nothing. We got no fresh news. So when you don't have fresh news, that's why you end up with something that does this at the end of the day, right? Full blown reversal. Just no good. And another thing that I really liked while we're on the topic about this trade is look at how much room is between us and the 200 EMA. And this is one of the first things I looked at. 200 EMA is at $25 a share. There is no threat of resistance from that. Not even a little bit. Like, this would have never pushed that high. It just wouldn't have. Not without news. With the float, the volume being increased by a news catalyst, maybe this could have been another SPRB for sure. But, no news. People just aren't as inclined to jump on it. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the recap for the day. Only trade I took, and I was out of the markets. Something I try to really encourage you guys to focus on as well. It's just get in, get green, and get out. Go do something. If you can make a living from trading, why do you want to be a slave to the charts? You don't, right? You just don't. You want to have the freedom. So make your money in the morning. And, me, I just made, I haven't made, low-key, I haven't made less than like $2,000 in a day for the last long time. But it's given me that ability to just leave. So you need to focus on that too, especially when you get to that point, which I believe you will. So if you're a new viewer, description of this video is the invite to the Discord community. Almost 4,000 people. You should come join that. Come get the alerts, the guidance, the teaching, the live classes, the coaching, access to the options, swings, day trading, watch list, all of the good stuff. You can come get that. So go, description of this video, join that. Leave a like, leave a thumbs up on this, share it with somebody, and I'll see you guys for tomorrow's daily recap. Fingers crossed it's a nice one. This momentum carries in. I can keep making these couple $1,000 days in the small account, and we can get this thing bumping, right? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.